What did your sibling do that made you realize they were a monster? When my sister called me, she said, "This is because of you," then sent me a picture of her flat belly and dried blood on her thigh. It all happened 2 years ago, when my sister first told me she was pregnant. She was crying, saying she doesn't want to be a mother, and the dad is some deadbeat loser she met at a rave and did it with high last night. "You have to take it," she said out of nowhere. "I've never wanted kids, but you have. Please. This is perfect timing for you too." I stared at her like she'd grown 3 heads. "Sarah, I'm leaving for Oxford in 3 months. I'm 19. You can defer. I'll pay for everything. Just put your name on the birth certificate. I'll visit all the time. I'll be the fun aunt." When I said no, she called our parents. Then the real nightmare started. Mom called me every single day about family duty and how I was being selfish. "You can always go to school later, but Sarah can't get these years back." Dad was worse. He straight up told me if I abandoned my family, he'd never speak to me again. The family group chat turned into a war zone with cousins and aunts all telling me I was ruining Sarah's life. Sarah started texting me ultrasound photos with messages like, "Look at your future baby," and "Can't wait for you to be a mommy." She then announced on Facebook that her wonderful little sister was going to raise the baby while she focused on her career. People were congratulating me left and right. When I tried to correct them, Sarah reported my posts and got them taken down. She started shipping nursery furniture to my dorm. My roommates thought I was insane. One day I came back from class to find a crib assembled next to my desk. That's when I snapped. I made my own Facebook post saying I was going to Oxford and would not be raising anyone's baby. I sent a text to the family group chat that said, "I will not sacrifice my future for Sarah's choices," and then I blocked every single one of them. Sarah showed up at my dorm screaming that I was murdering her dreams 2 days later. Campus security had to drag her out. Right around this time was when I got a call from an Oxford committee member. He was asking me to confirm that I wanted to defer for a year. My heart froze. I told him no, but he seemed confused. "Huh? But you called to tell us so yourself. You said it's because of a family emergency." I was shocked. I told him that whoever called him wasn't me, and that I was definitely going to attend next year. Of course, the person who made that call was Sarah, but it turns out that's not the only call she had made, because a week after, I got a letter in the mail about a court hearing happening in 4 weeks' time. It was for me to get listed as the adoptive parent of the baby for when she was born. It didn't take long for me to figure out what happened. I called Sarah, and she told me over the phone, all proud of herself, that she'd filed paperwork about listing me as the adoptive parent, citing my supposed infertility and how I said I always wanted kids. Unfortunately for her, I was recording the call. Silly Sarah. Either way, even with proof on my side, the whole thing was a nightmare. I had to spend a large chunk of my savings on a lawyer and reschedule my flight. Luckily, when the court date came, the judge saw very quickly what was happening. All I had to do was play the recording and give my side of the story. And given as though I personally did not actually want to be the adopted mother, the judge sided with me very quickly. I remember walking out of that courtroom thinking it was finally over. I thought I was free, especially because I went a whole week without hearing from my family. But of course that wasn't the case. Because one morning Sarah called me and said the words that are forever ingrained into me. "I hope you're happy. This is because of you," she said, basically laughing. I then heard a ping, and I saw that she had just sent me pictures. Pictures of her belly, now clearly flat, with dried blood on her thigh. I was horrified. I asked her what happened, thinking premature birth at first, but no. Turns out that last night my sister got extremely wasted alone in her apartment. She drank 2 bottles of wine and half a bottle of vodka. Then, once drunk and with the courage to do it, she went into her bathroom and started socking herself in the stomach over and over until she started bleeding from between her legs. She kept going until she miscarried at 5 months pregnant. "I hope you're happy you caused the death of an innocent baby," she slurred on the phone. "You forced me to do this." I didn't even respond. I just hung up and immediately called the police and filed charges. I also blocked every single one of my family members immediately and packed my things to go crash at one of my friends' houses so my family couldn't come to visit me. I didn't hear from any of them again, and I got on that plane 3 weeks later. I didn't hear about the trial or anything until 6 months into being overseas. Someone in my old school messaged me a news article. It was my sister. She had been found guilty of feticide and sentenced to 12 years in prison. My family never reached out, and I never spoke to any of them again.